you think the most frightening moment is death. But for a medieval person, the worst part began after it. The dead were not mourned in silence. They were feared, because death did not mean rest. It meant the possibility of return. Medieval people lived in a world where the border between the living and the dead was blurred. A soul could become trapped. A body could become a vessel. They believed the dead could hear. The dead could see. The dead could cause harm. A sickness in the village. A failed harvest. A child's death. Someone among the dead was blamed. Not every corpse was dangerous. Danger came from those who died incorrectly. This included sudden deaths, those who died without confession, the drowned, the murdered, the executed, suicides, victims of epidemics. It was believed their souls had not departed, or had been rejected by God, which meant they could return. Suicide was seen as a double crime. Against God, against the community. Such people were not buried in consecrated ground, placed at crossroads, pierced with stakes, buried face down. The logic was simple. Let the spirit lose its way. Let it fail to return. Court and church documents. Court and church documents from the 13th to 15th centuries regularly mention the body was damaged after death out of fear of its return. Heads were cut off, placed between the legs, or pinned with stones. The meaning: the dead could not see, could not speak, could not call others. Findings in Poland, Czech lands, Germany, the Balkans. They used wooden stakes, iron rods. Belief: the body was nailed to the earth. Archaeology records: fractured legs, broken arms, blows to the spine, all inflicted after death. Purpose: the dead must not rise. One of the most common practices: boulders on the chest, slabs on the head, stones on the legs. Logic: if it wakes, it cannot escape. Such graves are found across Europe. Especially common in Eastern Europe, the belief was simple: if the dead awaken, they will dig downward, not upward. This was considered merciful. Arms and legs were tied with rope, sometimes chained, archaeologically confirmed, in burials from the 10th to 14th centuries. During the Black Death of the 14th century, fear reached its peak. People believed corpses spread disease. The dead walked at night. Death moved among the living. Bodies were opened, burned, mutilated, buried without rites. We live in constant fear. We breathe only to die. Wherever we turn, death stands before our eyes. Even sleep brings no rest. Francesco Petrarch. Important. The Church did not always oppose this. It allowed special burials, excluded dangerous, dead, recorded cases in official texts. Burial outside consecrated ground meant exclusion from the community. The common explanation claims these were executed criminals, or that bodies were face down by accident. Modern bioarchaeology rejects this. First, scientists distinguish injuries made in life from damage inflicted after death. When a person is killed, bone is still fresh. It fractures differently. Sometimes healing begins. In these graves, the bone is dry. Fracture edges are clean. There is no regeneration. This means the damage was inflicted after death. Second, head placement. After executions, heads usually lie nearby, sometimes separately. Here, skulls are systematically positioned between the legs, beneath the chest, or pinned with stones. This is not impact. This is deliberate placement. Third, grave context. Executed criminals were buried in groups, near gallows, or in designated areas. These burials are solitary, within ordinary cemeteries or their margins, combined with restraint measures. Stakes, stones, binding, face-down positioning. This is not penal practice. It is protective. Fourth, redundancy. Multiple restraints appear together. Decapitation, plus staking, plus stones, plus prone burial. This is called redundant restraint. Law does not work this way. Fear does. Fifth, geography. The same patterns occur in Poland, Czech lands, Germany, the Balkans, Eastern Europe. Different cultures, different legal systems, identical actions. This excludes local execution customs. In academic literature, this is termed intentional post-mortem manipulation. Not execution, not erosion, not accident. Deliberate actions performed on corpses. Archaeology reveals a repeated sequence. Immobilization of the body, fixation in the grave, prevention of possible return. The living did this, systematically, across regions, according to the same logic, out of fear. Where the idea of returning dead came from, fear of the dead did not begin in the Middle Ages. It was inherited. Icelandic sagas from the 9th to 13th centuries describe draugr walking corpses. They were said to rise from burial mounds, press on the living during sleep, spread illness, guard their bodies and possessions. Important. The draugr was not a ghost. It was a body that moved. And how were they stopped? The head was cut off. The body was burned. The head was placed between the legs. Exactly the same actions that archaeology later records in graves. In Eastern Slavic tradition, Navi were restless, dead. Upyri were bodies that harmed the living. Reasons to become one. Suicide. Death without ritual. Witchcraft. Curse. Methods of protection. Stake through the chest. decapitation, weighing the body with earth and stone. These practices are documented in ethnographic sources of the 18th–19th centuries, but their roots are medieval. Even in Roman times, lemures were hostile spirits of the dead. Larvae were restless corpses, rituals included. Nighttime expulsions, striking the ground, taboos on speaking names. The ancient world passed this fear to Christian Europe. Christianity did not erase this fear. It reinterpreted it. The body was seen as temporary, sinful, dangerous. If a body moved after death, it was understood as either demonic or divine punishment. And again, the body had to be neutralized. This matters for the viewer. These people were not foolish. They saw bloated corpses, gas sounds, twitching limbs, blood from the mouth. Without medicine, this looked like he is waking up. Mythology provided the image of the enemy. Reality provided fear, epidemics, decomposition. Together they created finishing the dead as an act of protection. They did not fear fairy tales. They feared what they saw with their own eyes. Mythology only gave their fears a language.